Welcome. This video is going to walk you through the beginning of quarter checklist. Hopefully you have that printed out and you're looking at it right now, because we're simply going to go through this line by line, step by step. It's designed to give you some basic steps that you want to take before you go live, before you make your course available to students. Just some basic things so that you can have the most successful quarter. Okay, so let's get started. You'll notice up at the top there's some assumptions we're making. We assume that you have a course shell, we assume you have teacher rights to it, and we assume you have content you want to put in, all of that. If any of this isn't true and you need assistance before you even get started, please contact us. You see our information right there, olc@bates.ctc.edu or extension 7233. Please give us a call or an email. We'd love to help you out. One other resource we want to make you aware of, and that is we do have a YouTube channel. We're starting to upload some instructional videos to there. For example, you'll notice that there's a video on how to use the Bates template and how to import content into Canvas. So these videos are going to be hosted here, so at any point in time you can go back here and see what's available. So the first thing we recommend that you do is import the Bates template from Canvas Commons. Now, a lot of you may not know what the Bates template is, and probably even more of you don't know what Canvas Commons is. So let's talk about these, again, briefly, because we have a video to walk you through it. But the Bates template is a template that we've designed to put some basic information, some introductory information to your students. For example, you'll notice the Start Here module that we've made. That's things like student resources, what's available to them, the tutoring center, the diversity center, disability services, some legal statements you're required to make like disability, diversity, things like that, how to use Canvas better. So that's some basic information to give to your students. Underneath that, you'll notice the Mod 0. That's some exercises that your students can do to get them familiar with online learning and specifically with the Canvas setting. Now, one thing you might notice is that all of these modules are unpublished. That's done deliberately. We want you to use these in the way that works best. So import the class, into your course. And then if you decide, for example, I like the Start Here, that's some great information to get to my students, you can publish that. If you decide, nah, I don't need the Mod 0, my students are familiar with Canvas, then don't publish that. So you can pick and choose how you want to use this. In fact, you might even want to take some of our materials and combine that with materials that you already use. Doesn't matter to us, we just want to make this available to you. Okay? Now, before we go any farther, blinking red letters, important, important, important. We've made this the first step because when you import the Bates template, it's an entire class. It's designed that way to make it easier for you, but do be aware that it will delete your syllabus. So do this before anything else. Make sure that you do that. And we do this before we import content. Okay, so want to make that very clear and stress that point. The other thing that might be new to some of you is the Canvas Commons. So just to give you a quick look at that, this is the repository for open educational resources, meaning these are entire classes, quizzes, handouts, videos, documents that instructors have made that they are willing to share with other instructors. So you can go to the Commons, do a search, and possibly find something very useful that you can import and use in your class. So that's Canvas Commons. Okay, so we imported the template. The next step to get content into our course is we're going to import content. So we click on Settings, import content into this course. And again, if you're not familiar with this, we've got a video walking you through that entire step. Okay, but we're going to copy another course, for example, the spring course into the fall course. One thing I will recommend for those of you who have your dates built into your class, your due dates, I would absolutely use that Adjust Events and Due Dates feature. What that allows you to do is take, for example, spring dates and have Canvas convert them directly into fall dates. It really cuts down on the work that you have to do. Okay, so we've got our content into our course. What are some things that we want to do? Well, let's start with the settings page because a lot of stuff is on the settings page. Okay, first of all, let's just quickly eyeball it. Make sure everything is correct in here. The course isn't misnamed or something like that. One thing I would certainly recommend taking a look at specifically are the start and end date of the course. They should be set automatically, and that should be right. However, if for any reason you don't fall within the traditional Bates term, you're a late starting, late ending, maybe you're a shorter 6-week course, anything like that, you're going to want to go in and type the starting and ending date manually into here. And very important, make sure that you click this users can only participate in the course between these date settings. Once you click on that, that will actually override the Bates term settings and enforce your term settings, your term dates. Okay, so those are a couple of things to do right off the bat. Speaking of dates, another thing to do is go to your assignments and make sure all the dates of your assignments are correct. And specifically, one thing to check obviously is make sure that you don't have dates from a previous quarter. While we're on this page, make sure that your points are accurate and that everything's right there. And also make sure that your weighting is accurate. For example, in this case, my grading scheme is that assignments are worth 20%. If we need to fix that, we just click on the gear here and we can go in and change our settings if it's either wrong or I've decided that I want to change that weighting in any way, shape, or form. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go to my syllabus and make sure everything's accurate in here. So I scroll down and read it. Two things to check for sure. Obviously, any dates that are in there, make sure that those are again updated and accurate. Also, another thing to keep in the back of your mind is something that might be updated. Maybe there's a definition, a legal term, something like that. If the definitions have changed or if the phrasing has changed, you want to make sure that that is current and up to date. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to go to our home page. If you like your home page, great. If you want to change your home page for any reason, just click on the Choose Home Page link here. I chose an actual page. By the way, if you want to change that, you simply click on the Change button here and you can pick a different page. One thing a lot of instructors like is selecting course modules instead of a home page. That way when the students log in, they're taken right to their work and they can get started. One best practice I would recommend, the first week of class, put a home page up there. Welcome to my class, here's what's going on, put a nice picture up there, funny cartoon, graph, whatever you like. And then after the first week or so, then switch over to make course modules the first page. And so that your students, again, can get straight to work on that. All right, a few more things. Going back to settings. If we switch over to the navigation tab now, you can see my navigation menu here. We can move things up and down. For example, if I want to move the syllabus below the gradebook, I can just move things up and down accordingly. Also, I can actually get rid of things. Like for example, if I decide that I'm not going to use discussions, I can just disable that or drag it down and get rid of it. I can also move things back up. All right. One thing I would strongly recommend, if you're not going to use a link, you might as well get rid of it. So if you're not going to use, for example, collaborations or conferences, which most instructors don't, get rid of those. So dial in this navigation menu like so, and then when you're done, make sure you click on Save. Also on this settings page, you've got a button here that says Validate Links in Content. So if you click on that, it will actually run through. Now I've already done mine, it'll take a couple of minutes, but it'll run through and check every single link. It is not 100% accurate, I'll tell you that right now, but it is very good at flagging stuff that it has problems with, and then you can go back and check it. For example, on the 6 mistakes to avoid, it gave me 2 links that didn't work. The first one, as you see, does work perfectly, so I'm going to ignore that. But the second one, you notice Canvas was correct. This link, in fact, is broken, so I need to either update it or remove it from the class. All right, going back to settings. So we've put our content in, we're ready to go. One thing you absolutely want to do before you start is click on this Student View button. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, it lets you look at your course exactly as a student would see it. So you notice, for example, that navigation menu is different. You can see how the modules look. You can even go in and submit assignments and take tests in the Student View, so you can have what the student experience is like. I assume that you see the bright neon pink. It's designed to catch your eye to remind you that you are in Student View. So you want to make sure that you click that when you're done, otherwise you won't have access. All right, so we've put our stuff in, we've checked our course, we're ready to go. Now it's time to publish. Now here's something that can be a little confusing. There's actually 3 different levels of publishing in Canvas. There's course publishing, there is module publishing, and there is item publishing. Now it might seem a little bit confusing at first, but actually it gives you a lot of power as an instructor. You can make parts of the class available to you. So let's talk about that first one. That's simple enough. I'm ready to publish the course. It's like an on-off switch. And now my course is live and available to the students. All right. However, I can also publish and unpublish modules. So for example, I might decide when my students come in, I just want them doing this introductory stuff and I don't want them touching anything else. So I can unpublish week 2 and other modules so that the only module they can work on is week 1. And I can even get down to individual items, like let's say I wanted them to do their first assignment, but no one to do the second assignment till we'd had a chance to review it. I can just unpublish that one assignment. So now, again, I've got control of exactly what the students see and don't see. Okay, I've published my class, I've published my item. As long as you're here, why not schedule an announcement? Now, if class is starting shortly, you can just actually send it out. But if you're ahead of pace, click on this Add Announcement button and actually type and create an announcement. And then you can just click on Delay Posting, and you can choose when you want this to be sent out to your students. For example, the first day of class at 8 a.m., a week before class starts, the Friday before class starts, but you can choose when you want this announcement to go out. Okay, so we're done with our course. One last thing you might want to do before you head out is go into All Courses and star and unstar the courses that you want to see. Okay, that's it. You're good to go. We hope you have a great quarter.